to focus in on especially is if GenG take away the Caitlyn early on in this draft and all sorts of strong pushing lanes, that's when you really have to consider, all right, we banning Zeri. They're just going to do it right away before they even show things like the Caitlyn and Varus bans.
Yeah, I mean, banning away the Vi, that's something that Oner can play as well. That does very well into the Zeri, so not unexpected to see the Zeri follow a ban here as Lucian also taken off the board. That's the one dual lane that T1 always will go back to, even through all their iterations of insane, weird picks in the bottom lane.
Lucian gone, the Elise gone. Yumi is disabled, but as was mentioned earlier, Viego is back. This could still just be Elise in first pick coming through for T1, but they'll actually put Zeus on Jace, and this is a completely different matchup than what we saw in the KT Rollster series against Keen. This is a huge talking point because Zeus is going to switch roles here completely in this best of 5. He's going to be playing the strong side. He's going to be looking for pressure points against Doran instead of the other way around. So we'll see the Leona coming through here with Wukong as a response. So still not showing what the AD carry is just yet.
Yeah, it's very interesting opting into, of course, a very heavy engage support for Delight. It's comfort, but also showing that, maybe they want to go straight into what could turn into a poke comp on the side of T1, especially with the Varus hover. Jace and Sejuani are going to be the choices here, as will be Varus at the end of the day.
Yeah, very similar names, of course, in the champion select screen, but will be the Varus at the end of the day here. So without a support, though, and that's, I think, quite wise. It looks like we're going to see the Aphelios here for Pei. He's a champion he's proved himself on already. Scales very well. It's not the safety thresh you're going to see normally in this lane, but there's a lot of power, actually, even into a Varus lane with the Leona because of the engage and the setup with Gravitum. So a lane that needs to be respected. Now, do GenG take away things like the Karma, the Heimerdinger here, or do they want to actually put the focal point on some of Faker's champion pool? Because there's just so many different things that you can play here as Keria that trying to target him out seems very weak. Now, I like the Ashe ban when you consider the Sejuani is on the side of T1 here. They have a lot of CC, a lot of hard engage and poke.
Yeah.
So that one I'll give you, but otherwise trying to ban out another champ for Keria here feels futile.
Yeah, I mean, how deep do you want to go? How deep are you actually able to go in terms of banning him out? So Ahri also going to be taken off the board here for Chovy, as we have been seeing more Ahri Wukong, which is pretty interesting. Not necessarily the most strength in the 2v2, but Ahri, just as a pick of her own, has shown a lot of priority in these drafts for LCK teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Gragas ban here. To be honest, Faker has played Gragas so well with Jace, in particular in the past. Gives you additional engage, and it's a very safe lane, very blindable. And
he just said it, yeah. It's it's a great call, and I do wholeheartedly agree with you and the side of GenG to take that away from Faker. I think he just deserves the respect on that pick.
Yeah, now it's still a flexible Jace pick here too, so taking the Gragas away means that you're going to have less that you're worried about if you pick a strong topside pick. They're going to take the LeBlanc here straight away, though, for Chovy, and this has been a pick he's been fantastic on and has been so strong with the buff and the amount of lane prio you can get. It is, of course, face up into a Lissandra, but Lissandra hasn't looked extremely strong, especially through our middle-of-the-pack teams here in the LCK.
Yeah. We know what Faker was able to do on Lissandra against GenG in the very first day of LCK Spring, so he's going to go back to that. Now, if you were going to ban one more thing, maybe Caitlyn, but Kalista is also available. I am a huge fan of Kalista and just her ability to range devour you. You just put your Fate's Call on the Varus, and the Varus can play up. He can play like he's got a Tahm Kench. So they are certainly considering that, but they go over to the Braum.
The Braum is a safer choice here. And there are some serious issues if you decide to go for that all-in lane on the bottom side of the map, as it is going to be Jarvan to come through here as the final pick. And Doran given a chuckle here. Now, I worry, and this Jarvan pick is actually super interesting because the Wukong Jace counter is an old counter. We've seen it so many times, and you can actually win this lane. You can put the pressure on, but especially with Jarvan, this is super strong. But I worry for T1's composition here with the Lissandra, especially because it's somewhat disjointed from what the Poke is looking to do here with the Varus and the Jace. While you can soften up some of these targets, Lissandra and Sejuani go in, you can finish them off. It is very difficult to hard engage into now Leona, Wukong, and Jarvan. If you're going as Lissandra, you better be winning that team fight basically instantly because there is no out, there is no escape. You're going to have to invest into Azonias this game, and you're going to be playing utility. So you may get out damaged by what GenG have put together here. The LeBlanc is so terrifying. If Chovy gets ahead, this game feels so unplayable because the backline is super vulnerable. There's not really a great tank outside of the Sejuani in this draft here for T1 either, so LeBlanc has so much agency if she has the items in the vision control to back up that pick potential.
It's a very interesting draft starting off from game number 1, Wolf, I have to say. I think that GenG did come in very prepared with the very nice flex. Jarvan has been one of the picks that has been kind of the talk of the town nowadays in the community, just in terms of seeing so much priority even in the LPL and other regions. And we see it coming out here in the LCK and with the flex Wukong into the top lane. Very, very fun stuff. And all the stuff you mentioned about the Lissandra, very true, but it is Faker back on that pick, and he has looked so impressive on that. So very curious to see how it will go as we jump onto the rift for game number 1. All right, here we go.
Here we go at level 1. And the Jarvan here on the top side for Doran.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be a matchup where things are very difficult in terms of getting early prio. Like, you're not going to be able to flag harass really in this matchup. You could see he could try for it. He went for Airy. But it's a matchup where you're going to be outranged by default. And even with your passive, the ability to actually duel against Jace is so difficult. And you have a Sejuani to deal with who's way more impact in the early game than a Wukong will be. Which is why we were putting the focus on the Wukong top and the Jarvan jungle.
Yeah.
And they tricked us, you know, and swapped.
I got baited.
Yeah, they swapped at the last moment.
Yeah.
And I think that the Jarvan jungle and the Wukong top is what we expect and what we think is stronger. We'll see if Doran has really put the preparation to work here for this matchup going into this one.
Yeah, the lane Jarvan, lots of harass, as you mentioned. The electrocute here for Zeus, so he's going to be looking to take some pretty aggressive trades into this. As, yeah, we're going to get a bunch of Jonas Strong zoom-ins on every time a flag is dropped. That is no surprise at all. As Varus Braum returns, you know, I always get a little bit sad when I see someone like Keria on a pick like Braum. He does play it excellently, but not necessarily the highest mechanically challenging champion in the roster.
Definitely not a champion that really puts your skill ceiling to the test. Although at the same time, Keria has had pop-off games on Yuumi and Braum at the same time. So I think there was a game, I'm pretty sure it was Keria, where he was blocking autos onto the Nexus. Maybe it wasn't Keria. It might have been Lahens. I'm not 100% sure. Tall, by the way, the last person to play this.
Yeah.
When Roach was on GenG, he's now coaching for the team that GenG are playing against here. It's been a rare matchup, only happened 9 times. As you can see the engage here from Chovy. Nice reaction from Faker, but it's still a trade up.
Yeah, it's kind of what's going to go on. I mean,
he has electrocute, you know, versus unsealed. You can't win these trades really, unfortunately, as Faker.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember the old days of Aftershock Lissandra. The LeBlanc would try to trade, and wasn't a very fun time for her. As you just press W and you gain a bunch of resistances. Times have changed. Zeus nearly took a turret shot there as he went in for an auto, and Doran is actually up on health at the moment.
He has the lane where he wants it. He's down a little bit in CS here, but this is going to, of course, bounce back a little bit. But the Wukong is path bottom. So, you know, he stayed up here in case we were going to see an early gank where Sejuani has a lot of power here with the turret setup. You know, maybe you could actually trade back a kill or even, you know, counter gank and find success with the Wukong if they went for a super early gank. Because, man, Doran is playing with fire here. But now you see the Wukong is pathing bottom side, and we'll see if their reaction time is quick here. They do have a ward.
Going in for an engage. Peanut coming in from behind. Pace is taking a bunch of damage. They're trying to get this kill onto Pace as the concussive blows go in. And first blood is given over to Guma, but immediately traded back as Peanut did get the wraparound and picks up the second kill.
So all secondary summoners are down here, but Oner knows now he can dive.
Yeah, well, Doran is Jarvan, so...
Yeah, he will get away, but he's going to lose potentially a lot of farm here and actually just goes straight back over to the turret here. This is going to get some experience, and we'll have to back, but just does not want to get follow-up dove here. There's a pretty intense start to this game, but GenG, you know, they end up trading a kill back. A call is purchased here for Pays, and because they trade that kill back on the bottom side, you don't feel so bad about it, but I think Guma and Keria played it so perfectly, making sure they secure that kill onto Pays, reacting to go for the kill and trade, meaning that you're not going to end up, you know, trying to retreat and die. He's even going to take some of these Krugs.
Guma got so much gold from that. He picked up like 100 gold from the Krugs because apparently Peanut leashed it for him. As Oner is on the bottom side, we are trying to get the flash here out of Pays, and more concussive blows come in. Oner a little bit behind, but the damage is there, and flash forward, and Oner will pick up the kill, and maybe a second one out to Delight, as he's not able to flash out. A double kill to the T1 jungler.
Yeah, this is massive. Now the kill's going over to the Sejuani here. Isn't all bad. It's not amazing, obviously, but it definitely is going to accelerate the build here for Oner. He's gone for Green Smite, which is super strong, obviously, into the composition they're facing here. And, you know, it's going to really put down the bottom side here of GenG. A lot of farm is going to be lost, and obviously the cull is going to be significantly delayed. Because every time we jump to the mid lane, I get scared because I'm like, something happening, but actually not really. As yeah, this is the initial setup, and they realize, okay, we have to kill Pays, and they just push forward here, hit everything. And then the Ignite ticks through the health early. The kill goes over to Guma, which is massive because it's first blood, and also the kill that comes back is to the enemy jungler.
Oh man, and Keria just sets this up beautifully. He flash Qs in, and there's not really much you can do after that. Even if you do flash away as Pays, you're not getting out of there. So we talked about mechanics on Braum. Keria shows it off right away in game one.
And now your enemy AD carry has no flash, and he has no cleanse. His cleanse will be up fairly soon. That was expired or expended in the first exchange. But this is a scary moment because Wukong can't really assist until he hits level 6. So Peanut is trying to rush through and get that level 6 as soon as possible. You can see some vision is being cleared out here in the river just so that GenG know they can farm here. But look at the wave. Pays is just like, ooh, I'm so scared to come up here and farm. No sums.
And the power of the Braum into Leona showing itself off so far in this lane, as here we go, engage onto Zeus. He does not have turret aggro. As the last minion goes down, Zeus can just knock him away and will be totally fine.
Yeah, ends up being just an expanded ultimate, unfortunately for Doran. If he's able to catch him just a little bit closer to the turret there, or if he had aggroed the Jarvan at that timing, he would have taken a ton of damage and potentially would have had to flash, but instead he doesn't even need to. Just sits there, and now he knows that Jarvan's ultimate is down. Not going to be something that matters right now, but could be important for a Rift Herald fight, for example, that T1 could be setting up here in the next minute or so. And this Jarvan pick so far in the lane hasn't looked amazing. Still will be great for team fights, and there's a lot of combos you could set up with this comp, but that is something that's still unseen here in this early game.
Yeah, I mean, just going up against Jace, we'll have to see how he continues to play the game out. As Oner is here in mid, this is LeBlanc, of course, and Oner is not even level 6, so just putting on the pressure. Not going to go for any early dragon just yet, but he does have Prio on bot side with no flash for Pays, and so he will start up that Cloud Drake now. As T1 already over 1,000 gold in the lead with some of these early plays.
Yeah, it's a CS number as well is pretty massive here, or the CS difference is massive in 2 lanes, right? In top and in the AD carry position, 10 CS apiece. Now they're going to pick up Dragon. And as Peanut hits level 6, he's not going to be able to make an impact on this first objective. But now GenG should be turning their eyes towards Rift Herald because this is where Peanut is on the map right now. They have level 6 as the only objective available. And they have the Cataclysm coming back up here for Doran. If they just simply give both of these early game objectives to T1, it is going to feel really bad because so much map control will be lost, and you so desperately need that charge mid for your LeBlanc if she's going to make an impact this game. And T1 have the faster group here. Peanut's heading bottom, and they are just going to give up both objectives here. Chovy has no teleport. He's low on mana. And Doran is just backing. They're just going to give this one up for free. At least FaZe will get some bottom side push here, but it feels like a massive win for T1.
Yeah, and think about what the guys in the pre-show were saying about GenG's early game. You know, sometimes the stats don't tell the whole story, but we can see it in this early game. T1 already getting the snowball going, and GenG falling behind a little bit as they're trying to make a play onto Keria, who is Braum, and it's just not going to work. FaZe, meanwhile, missing out on potentially picking up 2 turret plates, which would be the trade normally for the Rift Heralds.
Yeah, he's got Crescendum here. So much damage. Peanuts here. They get a flash.
Not going to get that one, but they will get Keria down, so that is a kill going into the hands of the Aphelios already.
And it feels like this is a play you could tell Peanut and Delight are calling for here, because they realize, okay, we're going to give up Herald, but we're going to be able to deny Guma from getting back to lane pretty well here. They're not able to get a kill off of it on him, but they are able to deny some CS. They get his flash, and they do pick up those plates. So ultimately, the positioning there from Delight with that Tri-Brush controlled will stop that rotation over. So you're saying, oh, if you want to try to get the Herald and defend your turret plates and get those minions too, you're going to pay for it. And they did have to pay that tax of the flash there. Now, CS is even in the bottom lane. FaZe has picked up those 2 plates. Is halfway to call completion. I wouldn't say this is salvaged by any means, but it certainly does give you a little bit back as GenG.
Yeah, a little bit back. You got to start clawing your way back into this game. As we are going to take a look here at the replay. Pretty standard stuff. You know, they know the jungler is up on the top side, or was just up on the top side doing the Rift Herald, so...
Delight has level 6, and Keria does not. So that's a huge advantage they have here. You can take him out, push the Varus out of lane. Killing the Braum is insignificant, really. At the end of the day, it's just pushing Guma back. It's really huge that Guma lives. If Guma dies, then you get way more out of this.
And they get the kill on the FaZe, which is always a good thing, as trying to bait Zeus into a play on the top side here. He's going to have to flash away, and they will get that and trade for the Cataclysm.
Cataclysm just kind of being used defensively in this game. Here for Doran, and now he still has his flash, he still has flag drag, but he needs to be respectful, and he's not.
Yeah, he's going to face check here onto this one. Does get the flag drag out once again. Oner not going to commit to that play. Don't know exactly where Peanut is.
Yeah. Peanut didn't have ult, but it's hard to track him. It's coming up right now. So you don't want to go in blind, even though he did have ult and flash. Could have followed there. They want to set up a Rift Herald drop here on the top side of the map regardless. On this weak side, Jarvan, who isn't really accomplishing a whole lot. It's not much of a strong side in the bottom either. And Doran is just trying to farm minions here desperately.
He's going to call Peanut up, but Peanut immediately is backing in the bush, as pretty unavoidable for Doran. He's just going to let that one crash. And now only 2 plates left up on the top side. Could look to take that out if Doran loses any priority in that lane.
Just a big shout out to the LCK who cleaned up my coffee spill that I had, which is why the early game...
It was a big spill.
It was a big spill. Like, it was my April Fool's joke, but it wasn't a joke. I actually spilled coffee all over the table.
Chovy, he goes back in when Oner is here. He's going to block with the clone, and now Peanut following up as the chains will connect, trying to go back in onto Oner. Flashes away. Delight coming back over. Second Cyclone, and it should be enough as Peanut will pick up the kill onto Oner. Very nice counter game timing from him.
Yeah, Peanut has to, or rather Chovy has to flash, but they're able to get this kill here. And this is pretty huge. They're going to actually push this further into the bottom side as well. Guma low on mana. Looks like they're not going to commit any further here as Delight did use his ultimate. I mean, GenG here, the advantages they have are really on Chovy right now. He's the only one. He has a massive CS lead in a counter matchup. And this hasn't really been just because Faker is everywhere and he's absent from lane. He's just been making a big impact in the 1v1. And this could end up being huge for GenG. Obviously, the jungle fairly even. Topside advantages to the early Jace, as you'd expect. As this is Chovy's first-person view on this. Running into the Lissandra.
He sees him. He's calling for it.
Clone blocks the ultimate, which is massive.
Faker has no mana. He says, we're getting a fight here on the Drake as Peanut tries to start this one. He is caught inside the pit as he does have flash, tries to get away. But now the claw comes in, catches both of them, and FaZe has to cleanse as they're caught way out of position. And T1 are looking to punish. There's the concussive blows, and FaZe is a couple of autos away, and down he goes. Faker picks up the kill, and T1 gets the Infernal.
Yeah, Chovy's going to try to maybe punish here on the rotation back. Only going to catch a Sejuani, though, so not really catching her at all. So this is huge. I mean, T1, they are ahead in these marginal increments, but it's across the entire map. And this is the big issue here for GenG, is FaZe has been their win condition throughout all of playoffs at the end of the regular season. But he's 1-3 on the Cephalios. He's dead before he can complete his cull. Doesn't have his mythic here. The Jarvan is useless so far in this early game. As Peanut down here trying to greed for this dragon, just really not going to work out. It has no ultimate, so just a really odd decision here from GenG, just hoping they were going to get away with it, and they absolutely will not.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that simple.
FaZe just over there trying to help out his older brother, right? Peanut on the Drake, so he gets caught out, has to use both summoners, and also dies. And there's just no consolation for the side of GenG after a play like that. You're not getting the Drake, you're not picking up a kill or any summoners, really. I guess they got the flash out of Faker. So it's not a good spot for them.
No. And this mid turret, they didn't get the Herald, so they couldn't crash it in. It's going to be alive for so long this game. And if Chovy can't get that turret down, his playmaking potential is so much lower because his access points to the top lane, to the rest of the map, to picking in the jungle are so much lower. He's going to try to make something happen
Trying
top.
to get in onto Zeus. They have so much CC, and Zeus does not have flash. He should be going down. He's trying to trade it, though. As where is the damage? They can't kill him.
There's no damage. And like I said, Chovy can't get over here. He's not here. And he can't make the difference. He was the damage that they didn't have.
Oh, no, Oner's definitely going to dive this. Easy smite to slow him down as, okay, he will get away. Finally gets the flag and direct back, but close call on an extra kill as we're trying to get in onto Faker, but he's just, oh, the timing of the change. He's not able to claw out, has to ult himself, and he's not in a great spot himself now because he does not have a flash. Might get his claw up here in a little bit, but one last auto. And Chovy will take him down.
All right, Chovy gets the kill here, his first of the game, and it's a consolation prize, but man, did T1 get everything on the top side of the map there. No one has flash now on GenG. They are all down, as this play here is really optimistic because you have to aggro the turret here. You're not tank Jarvan, and the Wukong here is there, but the Cataclysm actually kind of locks you in. Then you flash, and there's so much CC when Oner shows up that Zeus just barely lives, and then Doran is forced to flag away himself. Faker just out here, unfortunately, as you say, unable to claw, is caught there, so that seals his fate. Will self-ult to buy time. There's just nothing you could do here, so is caught. A little bit greedy here from Faker, and that's some gold to Chovy. He has to carry this game. He is the main character for GenG now.
Yeah, he does have Merc Treads, but he also went for Ludens, so looking to burst down some of the squishies, some of that back line as... By the way, it's not even Gordrick or Jace, it's straight up Eclipse. Like, they still didn't have enough damage to burst through the Jace health bar at that point in time, so kind of unfortunate. This isn't a, true damage Jarvan build or anything like that. He went for Frozen Fist here, so...
yeah, I mean...
Definitely pretty interesting so far.
Yeah, and I don't think he had that completed when they went for that gank on the top side of the map, but he has it now, but his impact is going to be very limited. It's just setting up for FaZe and Chovy to carry the game. And if you get a good Cataclysm off and then FaZe hits a massive ultimate, you have the synergy, obviously, with Wukong there and the Leona, as Keria is pushing this super far and is completely alone, but they just don't know. They're very scared.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are some serious combos you can pull off here as GenG with this composition, but from behind, so much more difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. You see that T1 grouping up for this one as Keria just throws Ignite onto Peanut. I'm not really sure what that's for, but maybe just a little Giga Chad move, I suppose. As Chovy is coming in from behind here, looking for a bit of a flank, just trying to stop the push of T1, honestly. GenG not even really in a position to fight this one. As T1 group up as 5. And pick up the mid-tier 1 as they are now in full control of this map.
Yeah, and it's Chemtech Soul, but it's still significant here as Chovy's going to get some damage off onto Zeus. But there's no follow-up. It's very annoying. Like, maybe if Chovy does it again, you get something out of this. But ultimately, he has no ultimate now, and should be the Drake coming over when the reset comes through here for T1. It's up in 20. And it's pretty dire for GenG right now, because in terms of the scaling aspects, you could often say, okay, there's an Aphelios here, he will be relevant later, but it's, you know, not the lethality variant of Varus here. You have a decent front line now that Sejuani has her Warmogs, and Jace is going to do a ton of damage too. You just don't have an angle except hard engage.
Chovy, not sure about that, TP. My good sir, he's going to have to flash away. Still gets caught by the Sedge ult as Pays is also getting caught on the backside. Has to double Summoner here as he will get to safety. Delight very below as Doran is trying to frontline for him here, but he's just getting pulled to shreds too. Guma just standing up to him, takes down the Jarvan. Doesn't care about his little tanky build as they're just scattering to the wind like leaves. GenG just going down one by one.
There's no great turn here without sustained damage, which you don't have on an Aphelios is sitting on a Gale Force and, you know, half an IE. You don't have it. You just don't have the damage. So when you have this Wukong and you have the Cataclysm, even if everything kind of works together here, your main source of damage is the LeBlanc, who does some burst damage very quickly. And then that's the end. There isn't really any additional fighting you can look for at this stage in the game for GenG here. Whereas on the side of T1, you have a Jace who's going to do long-term damage. You have on-hit Varus, who's going to do a lot more.
But also their LeBlanc that's fed TPs into four of them.
That also is what starts this all off. But like, I think the idea here, you could have been maybe if people were in position for an amazing turn and Chovy feels safe, but nobody is here. And the ultimate is dodged by Faker here with the stopwatch, so Pays doesn't even get that off. That could have offered some form of additional damage here on the turn, but it's just super disjointed. And if that TP call is to turn with the team, you have to time it better. Everyone has to be a lot closer. Then maybe you get that miracle fight. But now Chovy is shut down. That's all of his Dark Seals gone.
Yeah.
The stopwatch is broken, and I think the chances of GenG losing, or rather winning this first game, are broken with it.
Yeah, and one person's build I want you to look at right now is not the Jarvan. He did go for the stopwatch, but it is the full damage lethality Jace that is here for T1. Zeus is so incredibly fed. He just picked up the kill, the kind of bonus kill on the backside of that by taking out Chovy. He is 2,000 gold ahead of Doran right now, and he's going to be hitting like a truck. His Muramana is finished at 20 minutes, okay? Yeah. So if anyone tries to get in here, even Doran or Delight, they're going to be taking massive damage as well. So now you've got a position where you don't really have map control, and also you're getting poked out by the Jace. It's really looking dire here for GenG, and T1, they got the snowball rolling early in the series, Wolf.
They certainly did. And the bounties here are relatively inaccessible when you're running a LeBlanc and a Jarvan in sides, neither of which have control. So, you know...
Do Baron? It is the T1 way.
It is the T1 way.
It is very predictable.
Yeah, it is predictable, and there is a control ward here in this pit, so fairly risky when you consider Doran also has teleport here. And Chovy trying to kind of scout this out and suss this out. And now the ward is cleared.
Yeah, and they're just going to do it pretty much on vision. They're like, okay, we don't really care if you're here because we can just poke you up, but they got to be careful not to try to flip it.
There's just no damage here for GenG. Look at how far back Pays is. He has ult. That's all he's got.
They get the TP. That's all they wanted. They're looking for the turn. As it's excellently done, Doran kind of an awkward angle on that flag drag. Nearly gets caught out on his way out. As okay, looking for the angle here. Onto the back line as Guma just flashes the wall, and the damage is there as Peanut will be the first one to go down, I believe. As no, he will get away to the top side. It will actually be Doran on the left side of your screen, who does get taken out first. Keria gets pretty low, but he does his job on the Braum.
Yeah, the damage is so quick here for T1 on the turn. And even though the engage was good, there's no follow-up. As Chovy's trying to fish.
Yeah, and Peanut's still here. He's actually full health. It was his clone who was getting hit there on the backside of this as, yeah, T1 taking a bit of damage here. Looks like they might want to go for a turn as there is the claw. They get in onto the Leona. Not the best target as the light will flash away. And T1 will have to give this one another try later on in the game.
Yeah, Chovy just wants to continue to do some poke damage here with Ludens and make sure they can't go back to the Baron. T1 are going to reset here, so the Baron is denied. really well played here from Chovy and crew to actually slow this one down. And with the back timing coming through from T1, since they took the brunt of the damage here, it will be a bit of a reset and a little bit of map control. As you see here, the engage is unfortunately onto a LeBlanc, or rather a Lissandra. And now Peanut is unfortunately just completely out of the fight. Yeah, his clone is the one that goes down, not the real Wukong, but just instantly dead there with Doran because they're the ones who hard engaged for no follow-up damage.
Yeah.
And Peanut survives, but he no longer has Flash. He no longer has the ability to turn a team fight. So he was just sitting on the edge of the Baron pit, hoping for another clone to come in and set up for a steal. And then Chovy saved the day, stops the Baron, but still, you know, the map control they got for just a brief moment during the backs there for T1 was so brief.
And if we can talk about what GenG does have in their pocket, we did finally get the IE here for Pays. He picks it up as a second item, and this is essentially a build which is, okay, I have Infernum. We get the Wombo combo Cataclysm. It's very hard to say. Cataclysm, Cyclone, and Solar Flare and all this stuff. And I press my ult, and I hope I boom the Varus and the Jace. Because if they can take out all of that lethality, well, I say lethality at least on the Jace, but the Varus going on hit here, if you can take out a huge portion of that damage, you might be in a decent spot in the fight, but you got to do it right at the beginning of the fight. It has to be quick.
And it's just, I just don't think it's going to be enough with these items right now because you're dealing with plated steel caps right on the Sejuani. So she's very tanky. Zhonya's on the Lissandra. Faker's difficult to kill here. Locket for Keria on top of his steel caps. Like, killing these champions is just probably not going to happen in an 100-0 case. You will still need to do some autos. You will still need to actually carry the fight with the LeBlanc getting the back line. Because if you only catch the front line in that combo, it won't be enough. As TP is going to be committed here from Chovy. They do not want to give over Soul.
Yeah. It really comes down to the engage here of Doran, Delight, and Peanut. I'd have to say Chovy will do his thing poking, and Pays is really just the follow-up damage. As Doran is looking for the angle here, GenG on top of the Drake. As Oner is looking for the potential steal, and it will go over to the side of Oner as there is the engage, but Delight is the one taking the majority of the damage. As now the Wombo combo does come in, but the damage is not quite there as Chovy desperate to put in the damage. They do not take out Zeus. He lives as Pays and Chovy, the two that are left alone, as everybody on the side of T1 is still alive. As look at that damage. Pays barely going to survive here potentially as Keria not able to hit his Q, but another big team fight win here to the side of T1.
Pays will get out, but again, Flash now on cooldown, no cleanse, and Peanut's down for 20 seconds here. They could just rush right over to the Baron because even though Oner almost died in that setup there, and then the counter engage comes through, you can't kill these players. Like I said, you know, and the Sejuani is now back at full health because she has Warmogs, and so you just go straight over the Baron here. Zeus almost died because he was positioned very aggressively in the front where Peanut did a decent amount of damage to him there with Haze, but he's able to flash out. So he lives and continues to chase and do damage, and then there's just no angle for you anymore as GenG. No turrets gone on the map, and that's the worst case scenario for a LeBlanc-based composition when your AD carry just is so significantly behind. So the first thing that goes badly here is Peanut's not able to secure the smite here because once again, Guma Oner synergy every single time. And then look at where Pays and Chovy are in the backline here when this combo comes through. Oner survives, and they turn on to Zeus here. Peanut hits him with a Cyclone. He gets rooted by Chovy, still lives. There's just not enough damage here.
The Cataclysm was on to, I believe, Faker and Oner, but it certainly was not on to Guma and Zeus, who are the two people I said that you have to Cataclysm Wombo combo. If you don't get them, the damage is still there. Zeus and Guma free-hitting the entire fight until, of course, Zeus has to flash away. And so it's just perfect positioning for T1. They get away from the engage, and they are able to keep their damage rolling. So now with the Baron that they did pick up, they are certainly thinking for it, but we do have a little flank in here as Doran is behind us.
Yeah. Maybe this is how you get the Cataclysm on the back line, is just go on the other side of the map and hope that the back line is closer to you, because it's hard to criticize Doran's Cataclysms in this game because the positioning has been so good for Guma here. He's so long range. Zeus on the Jace, he's so long range, so catching them really requires a heavy flank, and even Keria, as we've seen, can kind of block Doran out.
Uh-oh. This Jace is on the hunt. He has Sorelda's finish, so that is a 3-item insane power spike. I don't even know if you can call it really a power spike.
It's just a huge edge over this tank. This tanky.
He's got a lot of swords in his inventory, and he's not afraid to use them.
Well, I mean, the Soreldas is going to help him rip through Doran's armor here, so Doran can't even stick around. And like, if you try to flank the backside and kill the Varus, kill the Lissandra, she is extremely mobile. She has Zhonya's. If you try to kill the Jace and the Varus, the immobile carries. Like the Jace, if he sees you on the flank, he kills you. If you see Keria on the flank, he buys enough time so the rest of the team comes over, they kill you. So you can't really be on a long con flank when you're this far behind. If you're ahead and the Jace doesn't have 3 items, maybe you could go a little bit more toe-to-toe with the Jace than get on top of him, and then the follow-up LeBlanc is there. If you have turrets down, maybe then the LeBlanc can get behind and also threaten with that Jarvan. But the amount of safety T1 has in this map with all the vision they have is just insane. So there are no surprises, there are no tricks.
Yeah, and you see what T1 did on the push. They took no chances. They got flanked, and they're like, okay, we respect that. We're not going to, just push in with the Baron. And so the result is their Baron buff, their Baron power play is only about 1,800 gold. Felt like it should have been more, but they have not broken into the base. GenG still have a smattering of control wards around the bottom side of the map, and that's going to be good for setting up for this Elder Drake that we have in a couple of minutes here. It is going to spawn about a minute before the Baron, so should be an Elder Drake-focused, potentially final fight in this game.
Yeah. Scryer's Bloom hits here, so T1 can clear any potential vision. They get a flash out of Delight. He has Hex Flash, but going to be way less significant in a 5v5 team fight. Not going to have time to channel that one. Well, when you scry this whole entrance to the Elder Pit, I mean, what are GenG going to do? Peanuts seen on this ward. No flanks potentially at all. Like I was saying, T1 have just done their homework and have done their due diligence here. Looks like Chovy might get a bounty here. And, I mean, that's going to be helpful. It might be enough to get him his Shadow Flame here. I don't know how much gold he's sitting on. That would be nice to have for this fight, but would be nice isn't enough.
Yeah. They need a bit more. They need a big wombo combo fight as Peanut trying to bait out some stuff with the clone, but not quite able to stop this even without the Baron. T1 we're going to take this one down. As mid inhibitor is nice, but especially with Elder Drake, it's not huge because especially at this point in the game, GenG can kind of just push up as a team through mid, and it's not going to make a huge difference, but T1 still will take it.
Yeah, the timing of this Elder is very critical. T1 going to go for a back here, actually, and this is pretty safe because GenG don't have any vision whatsoever. And notice they've bought, actually, 6 control wards to try to leapfrog their way towards the Elder as safely and carefully as they can. Got to be careful of flanks from this LeBlanc. Have to watch out for that Zeus poke damage here on the Jace. They're going to pick up some mana here, but he's fairly vulnerable.
He doesn't have claw. He doesn't have. Oh, he's got it back up just now as he is going to get back to safety, maybe baiting him into Keria. As now looking for the engage. They know Delight does not have flashes. They just turn onto the Leona and blow him up. Down he goes. As so much for the tanking the Leona in this fight as the TP is behind them. As Page trying to do damage on the front line. Guma in a very wonky spot. Flashes forward into Inferno, and it doesn't matter. As that should be the end of this one. Very low health bars on the side of T1 as Chovy is desperate. He does pick up the kill onto Guma.
Doran.
Maybe he's got some kind of chance. That's a double kill for Chovy. Is the clone going to tank that one up?
The base, though, is in tatters here. The Nexus turret's under fire. He's going to have to TP to the Nexus.
He should have enough time, and he will get there on time, but it is a LeBlanc. Can he reliably clean up this wave against a Jace? Not 100% sure, but Delight will respawn, and they will get ready for the Elder.
Yeah, they're just going to TP to the Elder here. There's no reason to actually try to hard force this with some of these respawns coming through. Pace is up in 10. Doran up in 20.
They're going to try to burst it.
Yeah, and I think they certainly can because they have the vision here to control this choke, and there's no damage. There's no jungler.
It's really up to Chovy. Chovy has to get there on time, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Delight with Solar Flare. One time? One time trying to get lucky here as Smite is perfect, 1196 as Faker goes in for the engage. They have Elder Drake as the rest of the team's trying to get out here. As a split Qual comes in, they're just going to give up Faker. as he is all alone. He does have the stopwatch, and Zeus still here. Okay, the re-engage, but the shock blast misses. As not Paze. Cleanest engage. Paze is getting the damage on Zeus as he is ticking down, but he is still alive.
Oh my god, he's still alive.
The Aphelios is shooting from over the wall, but he's just trying to get away. They don't want to fight against the Elder Drake, and Guma just a little bit too scary, even without his summoners.
Incredible moment for Paze regardless, but it's not going to be enough. One hit will take him out.
One smite. Oh, he's trying to chase him down and smite him, but not quite going to happen as even the piercing arrow misses.
Yeah, Doran here has no ultimate here. Is going to finally get back as Chovy's pushing Oner out, and they're deleting some of this Elder buff timer. And you know what? Like, there's no wave pushing into the base now, and Faker actually sacrificing his life there, teleported to the Elder. He was one of the only ones who could have come in to try to end the game with Zeus, but they ended up losing him on the retreat, a little bit disjointed on the exit. And suddenly signs of life here for GenG. And I don't want to say they're ahead or they're back in the game, but it looked like the game was over. We could talk about game 2, and now twice they have just barely, by the skin of their teeth, survived here.
For sure. I mean, their Aphelios is on 3.5 items. He's going to be critting like a beast. I think it's really going to come down to execution. I mean, T1 for now, absolutely. Game is still in their hands. They still have Elder for a minute. So they should be able to take down Baron for free. Peanut not even going to try to come in and steal this. So T1, I think they're going to try to make a big play here in the next 1 minute.
Yeah, and the really critical things here are there are no teleports for GenG. T1 know this. They know there's no flank that could be set up here. The ults are back up, but as long as you just stay as a group of 5 and that pack line, the 2 carries don't really get caught by that combo, you should be able to end here. You got 20 seconds on Elder. Chovy is doing blue buff.
Well, the team doesn't want to fight while they have Elder, but they might be forced to. Like, you got to get back here. He is backing now. As 9 seconds on Elder buff, we got 7, 6, 5. Peanut is in the front line with his clone, trying to stop this one as Doran goes in. Trying to clear out the wave here as Elder buff is gone, but Doran is as well. As the ult here from Paze is not massive, but he does have a massive shield, and they are clearing this wave, and the AoE damage is coming in for both Chovy and Paze, and it will push T1 back for now.
Yeah, with Chovy and Paze alive here, T1 just cannot end. And these awkward fights here where T1 are trying to push through, and they have the minions to back it up, but they get cleared out by Peanuts engaged there. They aren't able to actually kill anybody. They're taking a bunch of damage here from turrets, and notice that T1, as the Elder fades here, haven't really hurt anybody on the side of GenG. The engage from Doran is fantastic. Oner, yeah, he has that healing coming through, but he's taking so much damage here. Then when the follow-up ult comes through from Paze and Chovy's doing some of that chip damage, the wave gets cleared out here in mid, and T1 are like, ooh, we can no longer push through this. Baker's full health, but the real carries are not.
Yeah, and this is the damage now of 4 item Aphelios. If you are even next to minions that are getting AoE'd by Infernum, okay? Like, just imagine if Paze is given, 2-3 seconds to auto onto that back line.
But now you've got Death Cap, and the Runins is a huge, big spike for them for these combos.
Yeah, and you see Paze, most damage in the game, not surprising, as the majority of the damage done in that last fight was him. As, let's see, I mean, T1, they're desperate to try to end this game before things get any more hairy in this one.
Use these Baron minions. You got 45 seconds here. You get this inhibitor. You've got a clear path to victory here. Just got to play it slow.
Yeah.
Don't get engaged on.
That's exactly what they're doing. As, okay, that's Paze's shield gone. One shot class. As 3 inhibitors are gone. T1 slowly but surely with 30 seconds of Baron buff are trying to take down the game.
Just let the minions do the work here. GenG have to come to you.
Hold up the door, but they go for the wombo combo. They get the Cataclysm, but it is not in the backline. Guma is just autoing everybody as Paze. Tons of AoE, but he can't do it alone, as now he's going to get burst to smithereens as he is in the base. And T1, they have done it. Guma takes him down, looking for the Penta, but the Nexus goes down first. 37 minutes, and T1 take game 1.
A very clean early to mid game from T1, but the later parts of the game did get a little bit messy. A lot of threats, and you can see the power of the composition here for GenG when we got to those parts of the game where the Aphelios actually was a champion and did exist. Because if you have those engagements,